about me, I attended Surbiton from year 7 to year 13, and I left in 2019. I studied physics, economics, and politics at A-level. I then went on to study environmental science with international development at the University of East Anglia. And then after graduating, I completed a summer research internship with a company called Thomas Lloyd. And I work as an impact and ESG analyst at Thomas Lloyd. So, why I chose Env and Dev. So, to preface this, my course, I tailored it a lot to my interests, so of renewable energy, weather, economics, but there are so many different paths you can go down with this kind of course, including marine ecosystems with marine biology, like so, agriculture and soil science, geology, archaeology, urban development, environmental politics, etc. So the first reason was it was a great combination of all of my A-levels. So as I said, physics, economics, politics. I didn't want to, I loved all of my A-levels and I didn't want to just do one, so I thought this would be the perfect degree to include all of that with both Env and Dev. It covered both the science and the policy side of climate change, so again, I didn't want to focus on just science or just policy. I wanted it to be like a well-rounded view of everything, and this was perfect for it. So some of the modules that I did was like meteorology, geophysical hazards, the carbon cycle and climate change, but then also environmental policy and policy making, environmental consultancy and energy transitions. Another reason is it's very relevant to current affairs, as you probably know. The study of climate change is constantly changing, and we're discovering new things about the planet every single day. So for instance, the United Nations plays a major role in setting protocols and procedures for countries, organisations and people to adhere to. So just quickly, does anyone know when climate change was officially recognised as a serious issue by the UN? Any guesses? Any number would be any. Just yell it out. Someone say something. 67? That sounds more likely, right? 1967? Yeah. It was actually 1992, which was only 30 years ago. I don't know if that shocks anyone, but it kind of shocked me, considering we have known about climate change and we've known about the impact of human activity on our world for well over 100 years. It's documented to well over 100 years we've known about climate change. So for it to be classed as a serious issue only 30 years ago is crazy. So yeah, that's current affairs. Another reason was it gives you real world experiences and opportunities. So for instance, on one of my modules, I did a module called environmental consultancy, and I was partnered with an external consultant called Cornwall Insight, and I worked with them on developing information on financing new large-scale nuclear in the UK. So the extent of my economics and finance is simply just my economics A-level, which was like 4 years ago. So this was a great way to learn something new, ask questions about the industry, and also the module assessed you on your professional skills, so correspondence with the company, research and analysis skills, and also your presentation skills, which helps a lot when it comes to applying for jobs and stuff like this. How I found the course. It's not a fun story. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and so I simply went onto the University of Manchester's website, because they have the most number of courses offered in the country apparently, and I just went A to Z, looking at every single course that I could do, got to E, saw environmental science and thought, that looks really good, I think I'll do that. So, not a big story. So past and current jobs. So similar to Zoe, I did not have a lot of experience in sustainability or anything environmental prior to university. I did a week work experience at the House of Commons when I was 17, I think. And that was simply just researching whatever I wanted to do. They didn't have a lot for me to do, but it was, I looked at the Paris Agreement and that kind of stuff, but it wasn't very relevant. Other stuff was like, I was a home care assistant during COVID, I was a kids' summer camp leader, worked at Wimbledon, and I was a barista at Costa Coffee during my 3rd year. So not relevant to sustainability at all, but it's all relevant experience that you can apply to your jobs. Just the varied knowledge and everything that you gain from these jobs are so important when you are applying for jobs that are relevant. So current job / experience, obviously the consultancy module I did kind of counts as experience. And then my summer research internship at Thomas Lloyd, and then now my current job of being an analyst. So about my internship. So after graduating, I decided to apply for any and all internships that were out there. I think I applied for hundreds. Anything to do with energy or sustainability, meteorology, just anything that would take me. And I found this one from Thomas Lloyd on Indeed, but they were marketing towards more business and economic students. But then I read up about the company, and I read up about what the internship would entail and what the company does. And their main focus is managing renewable assets. And I figured I did my dissertation on wind energy, I might as well apply. And I got it. So it just goes to show that you shouldn't not apply for something because you don't think you have the experience and you don't have the knowledge. Apply for anything. The worst they can do is say no. And after all that, it's good experience just for interview practice and applying in general. So then after 3 months of my internship, I was offered a full-time job at Thomas Lloyd as an impact and ESG analyst. So, what is ESG? Does anyone know what ESG is before I say? Just raise a hand if you do know what it is. I'm not going to ask you what it is, just if you know. No, okay, neither did I before I actually started the job. So, it's very new, ESG. It stands for Environmental Social Governance. It is a set of aspects considered when investing in companies that recommend social issues, environmental issues, and corporate governance issues into account. Why is it important? So, for one, risk mitigation. In asset management especially, evaluating potential risks that are going to be heightened by climate change, so maybe extreme flooding or increased frequency in monsoons or heat waves, they're all going to be risks that are going to affect, for example, a solar power plant or a biomass plant for whatever reason. So preparing for this and preparing your infrastructure and preparing policies is so important when companies are making an investment, because they need to know for the long term what's going to happen and how bad the payback's going to be or how good the payback's going to be. Innovation and adaptation. So ESG helps drive innovation and helps companies to adapt to changing markets and demands and societal expectations. So it's not just what climate change is going to do, but also the social impact of everything. So the communities that you're going to affect by building something new or expanding something or acquiring something, an asset, is all something that you need to take into account. You can't displace people, you can't displace animals, you need to have space for agriculture and all this kind of stuff. It's all stuff that you need to take into account. And similar to that, social. So it leads to social, positive social impacts, job creation, community development, support for populations most affected by climate change. So what I do in ESG. So my company invests and operates in emerging Asian markets. So these are places like, so India, the Philippines, Vietnam, Bangladesh, Indonesia, Thailand, etc. And we manage renewable energy plants, specifically solar and biomass. So that's one of our solar plants there. That's in India, I'm pretty sure. I support the head of Impact and ESG with the management of operations of the plants we own, and we help conduct due diligence when acquiring new assets. We also support them with their net zero targets and working to be as efficient as possible and reduce emissions as much as possible. Because even if you have a renewable plant like solar and biomass, you are still going to be producing emissions. So you need to find a way that you can lower those as much as possible. So these plants produce clean energy, avoid CO2 emissions, but they also have a profound effect on the community and social relations. So, for instance, one of our solar sites in the Philippines, which are these two photos here, you can see the plants in the background, and that's an oxen, if you can see. The land next to the plants is used by people who work on the site, and security, and people from the local community, and they are able to come to the site and they're allowed to farm on this land, and they can grow crops, they can grow vegetables, and they can use that and they can sell them and they can make more money, or they can feed their community. So these are some of their crops that they've done. And if you look here, you can see the plant and then the solar panels there. So that's one way, just making use of the land, but also supporting the local community. Another way, another thing that we do with them is supporting women in these jobs, so especially in emerging economies, you're not going to have a lot of push for women in these specific jobs like engineering or working in the office or whatever. So we help with implementing policies like human rights policies and equal rights policies and equal pay for women, and also offering entrepreneurial skill workshops to the local women in the community. So they have opportunities to work at the site and learn new skills. Yeah, and then also providing graduate schemes for young engineers also from the local universities. So it's not just environment, it's not just reducing your emissions and creating green energy, it is everything you do, everything that you do makes an impact, and you need to take that all into account when you do this kind of thing. So, rewards and challenges. It sounds cringe, but the people that you work with, it's so true. The people that you get to work with in your office, but also the people that are on site, and it's mainly Zoom calls and whatever, but you do meet some amazing people who have some fantastic stories and also have 30 years plus in the industry. It's so interesting to listen to their points of view and listen to their side of the story. So working with different people, that's definitely a reward. As Zoe said as well, making a genuine impact and actually seeing your work in action. So for the plants that we operate with, they report to us every quarter their emissions that they've reduced, all of the policies that they've been working on, and stuff like that, so we can actually see that what we're doing just in an office in London is actually helping some people in these other countries implementing these policies and getting stuff done. That's really, really nice to see. Learning all the time. Again, another cliche, but you are literally learning something new every single day. Not like either working on a new project and discovering something you didn't know, or like working on something for a long time and really getting a good idea of what it means, but also the company will help with like providing online courses, and also some companies, so my company is potentially helping me with my master's, so working part-time with them while doing a master's at the same time. You have a lot of opportunities if your company is willing to really support you with your further education. Challenges. Starting a new role in an industry is just a general challenge for everywhere, not just in a green job. It's going to feel like you have imposter syndrome, that's completely normal. But you just need to remember that you got the job, they gave it to you for a reason, and you shouldn't be worried. It's absolutely fine. Another challenge of my job in particular is getting the whole team on board with ESG work. So ESG, as I said, is a relatively new space, and when you bring something that's primarily driven by morals and what's good for the environment to a lot of people who have been in the finance industry for 40 plus years, it's very difficult to implement that and make them actually realise that it is something that you need to take into account for the long run. And because it's morally correct, it's a bit difficult to do sometimes. Dealing with climate skeptics / those who are against new energy. A lot of people believe that the transition to renewables and reducing emissions won't actually help prevent climate change. It's very difficult to deal with, especially if you dedicate your studies and your career to this kind of thing. But you just have to hear them out, and you have to see where they're coming from and start a conversation about it, because a lot of the time there is a lot of miscommunication within this industry, so it's good that you need to set things right with this kind of tips. I know you guys have probably all decided your university and your courses, but just some tips anyway. Explore your options. Don't really look at all the modules that each university offers. They might have the same course title, but every single module and every single course at different universities is going to be different. So really find something that you actually enjoy, not just because it's the top university in the country or your friends are going there, but like really find something you enjoy, because it's just important. Apply anyway. So like I said, if you don't think you're qualified enough, who cares? Just apply. You never know. You could be the perfect person that they were looking for because of your knowledge in other areas and your experience in other areas. It's not just what they're looking for, it's also about you. It's what you're looking for, and you might be exactly what they need. Ask for help. This one is really basic, but it's so important, and I still haven't really taken it on board, my own advice, but your lecturers and your managers are there for a reason, and just like your teachers are, they want to help you and they want to see you succeed. Don't feel like because you're new in something, you need to know everything. Go ask for help. It's absolutely fine. No one's gonna be mad. Broaden your knowledge. Just get a good idea of everything that is in your industry and everything that is in your course. Don't pigeonhole yourself into one thing, because in 2 years' time you might change your mind. So get a good view on everything. Start conversations. So the best way to learn and develop your skills is to talk to people and hear their stories and hear their side of the conversation. Attend presentations, read books, watch documentaries, just get a good grasp of everything. And have a genuine passion for change, so exactly what Zoe said. If you are not passionate about this industry, or you're not passionate about making a change, then it's not going to be as impactful as you think. So have a genuine passion is the big one. Yeah, that's it. Thank you. Any questions?